now it's like doing the start of. I'll tell you when we're live. I think we're live. Hi.
Woo!
Welcome to a band batch stream. Justin, Christina, and I are here today. James, once again, can't make it. But we are holding down the fort today, and we are excited to talk about Skeleton Crew Episode 3. Yes, exactly. Exactly, Matthew. Theremin. And we will have Theremin demonstration today.
Yes, we will. You know, it's funny because when you posted the thumbnail for us, Xanthe, I hadn't seen the episode yet, so I was tempted to be like, spoilers! Musical spoilers!
Oh, yeah, I should
Totally
have
would
asked.
count as a musical spoiler.
No, it was funny.
No,
It was funny. I was like, oh no.
Oh, that's
So then I was
funny.
like sitting there the entire episode going like, there's no theremin in this.
Yeah.
And then when it hit, it was like,
Okay.
oh, geez, yes, that is very much a theremin.
Oh,
Since I am
God.
pro spoiler, I merely looked forward to the theremin the entire time.
Oh, so you also hadn't seen it? Okay. Okay. I need
Pro
to
spoiler.
learn y'all's schedules. Yeah, because I sent it yesterday, and I was like, oh, well, it's Friday. Surely they've seen it already.
Oh, well, you know. No, you sent it Thursday because I watched them on Thursdays.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I don't know what the days are at this time in my life. Yeah, so, okay. So theremin is definitely one of the things we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
There
Coolest
was, I
instrument
thought, a
ever.
lot of cool music.
Yeah,
This
this is a
episode.
really heavy music episode.
Yeah. And there were a few, like 2 or 3 things that were recurring motifs. Yeah, I don't know. What did you all pick up on? Like, what were your standout musical moments from the episode?
Do you want to jump into examples and guesses?
I guess we could.
Or do you want to
Do you have an
Let's do that.
Okay.
do that?
Because
Okay,
that would be
I like
standout.
I like the jump arounds because
Cool.
all my notes are backwards, like I said. Okay, I got one for y'all. Where did
Okay.
this is small? It's small, but it is a hours of conversation have been spent upon this in other sources. Let's see. Hold on. No. Sure. Okay, this is the wrong instrument. I'm just letting you know this, but this happens.
Okay.
Tell me where this happens.
Yes. Okay.
There might have been like
Yeah.
like a little bit of a chord in there, but that was basically the moment. Can anyone tell me where that was?
I can, but I will say that there was a dies irae in 2 parts of the episode.
Oh, I missed the other one. Where was the other one?
But I think you're doing the first one.
Yes, I know. I think yeah.
Yeah.
The big
'cause
one.
The second one was during a fast action cue with like xylophone. It was like dee, 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 toward the end of the episode when they're like escaping.
Oh, but does that count? Does that
I think
count
it
at that
counts.
point?
I think it counts. I think it counts at that point.
It
It's at
can't just
30:51.
30:51. Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, but Christina, do you have a guess?
Not especially, and I see the light on your face, and I feel like you
So
should
you're like,
totally.
I know where it is.
Yeah, it is about 1626 while Jod is investigating the ship and sees he sees a bunch of things. Like he sees the skeletal remains.
I think
Yeah.
it was precisely there is when he looks at the skeleton of the skeleton crew, and takes the knife out of the chest and stores the knife. Yeah. That's when he's looking at that. It's very like because there's not much going on. There's this like right before it. There's this like isn't that a motif from one of the first two?
I think it is very related to the mysterious hatch one, which
Yeah.
who was it
What
that
was the
was it you,
mysterious
Matthew,
hatch
that
one?
commented on our last video saying that it really is like that Goonies thing, which everyone was telling us last week. And I listened
Yeah.
to it, and you all were right. You were absolutely right. You're correct. It really did remind of the Goonies. Yeah. Okay. Yes, exactly. That was you, Matthew. Map and Willie. Yep. I listened to it and was like, sure enough, that's got to be a direct influence, probably.
Yeah. And that theme kind of happens at 15:53, like just before this, like barely 30 seconds before this, and that's when he's kind of like Jod. I keep wanting to call him Job. Jod is walking around. It's Jude Law, Jude Law.
Right.
Right. At least they didn't like cast Jack Nicholson and call him Jack like in 5 movies that he's been cast in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think for sure. And I think the Michael Keaton Batman, Tim Burton Batman, his character's name is Jack. I'm pretty sure.
Really?
And
Oh my gosh.
yeah, and in The Shining, I'm pretty
Oh,
sure
I didn't remember
The
that.
Shining, his name is Jack, and it's like, oh great, he can just be himself. Yeah, Jod investigates the airship. Yep. Hurdy-gurdy.
Except it's on a plucked instrument, not on a flute.
Oh, that sound is
The-
giving
the-
me major Majora's Mask Zelda. If anyone's a Zelda fan from the original games, it's like that's like very prominent in the Majora's Mask game. That whole sound and like even like chords, like harmony. Anyways,
I only know that because it was a Guess the Tune. Majora's Mask.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was it a flute, an alto flute? I was having, and me as a flute player, I ashamed myself, but like I was having this like, is it a bassoon or is it an alto flute? Because down in that register with that reverb and the setting, they're really similar.
Thanks for the feedback, Ender. Tell me if it's good now. Yeah, that's validating because I also was like, oh, alto flute. But then I was like, oh, no, regular flute. And I kept going back and forth.
There's some parts in something that comes up later that has very much the same sound, but the flute, regular flute can't go that low. Alto flute could, maybe.
Maybe it was, like
But-
I kind of, my prevailing theory is that it was 2 different instruments. But I don't know. Yeah, not sure. But anyway, yeah, Dies Irae, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Good one. I can do one. And this did happen a couple times. Sorry. There's strings, there's like xylophone. It's much punchier than I depicted. It's like,
Ziggy, you're flat, Ziggy.
and then it's strings. Diggity, 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 diggity. It was like kind of switching between 6/8 and 5/8.
Play it again. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Ziggy totally distracted us, it's certain.
Ziggy, there's a cat. You can't. You
Yeah,
know.
the cat demands attention always.
Yeah, I forgot to close that door. Ah.
Oh, that's great.
It's amazing
Now
how different that sounds between the piano
I
and
know.
the violin.
Yeah. It was like a jaunty asymmetrical meter thing. It was like very percussive and angular. And it was like part of a longer set piece. But that dun, 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 kind of outlining an augmented triad was a main feature of it. And then Yeah, so that happened like 5 times, like 4 times or something.
Well, it's funny because part of that reminds me of something that happens elsewhere, and I'm curious if what I'm hearing is something of the 5 times that you heard.
Mm.
Ooh.
But I know I'm pretty sure what you're pointing out is not what I want to point out, which is why I'm second guessing myself.
Well, I do want to
Xanthine.
hear yours now, just in case.
Oh, well. I might be a little higher.
I think I think that is related. I think that's maybe the same thing.
Maybe? Okay. Well,
Because-
okay.
Yeah, because I have the sort of string part.
Are there
Digga-digga-digga-digga.
bongos behind yours?
Are there bongos? That's a good question.
Ooh.
Let me try to listen. 12, 13. So the first time. Not overtly. It's like kind of unison. Then the second time it happens, and does anyone in the chat recognize that little bit of music too? The
12,
second time it
34.
happens is 13:30. Oh yeah. I think the one at 13:30 there may be bongos in the background.
I'm thinking of a different part.
Oh, you are. Okay, okay. Oh, well, they both have the like half step and then augmented second though. So maybe
Yeah.
they're meant to be like from the same bit of material. Because
Maybe.
it also happens again at 30:08 and 31:02. So it felt definitely
They
recurring.
did get chased by pirates a lot.
They did.
Pursued by pirate. Jeez, like pirates a lot. I like how all the pirates still have like a classic like English
Accent.
accent. All these different species all speak basic in an English shanty accent. Seafaring accent. I love it. I love it so much. I love the show so much.
Yeah, so that was Pursued by Pirates. Happened when they were being pursued by pirates. Seemed like yeah. I would love to know if Mick Giacchino actually has internally like names for different things.
Oh, he must.
I hope so.
I feel like we all do, even if we don't write them down. Like there's like we all kind of when we have these little things.
And yeah, it's a little bit tough the first time we hear something because it's like until I hear it a second time, I'm not sure necessarily what the common thread will be in all of its uses. Do you have another one?
Yeah, Christina, do you have any yourself?
Not.
I got a few. Okay.
Okay, true, Chuck. True. Okay, maybe it's not just for being pursued by pirates, but it's being pursued.
Pursuit.
That's fair.
Minus
That's
five.
fair.
Well, I'll go with my example, which has this sound and bongos behind it. Well, not this sound. Okay, this is supposed to be like a piano, like an actual piano. Xanthe, you'll pick this up in like 2 seconds and be able to play it on the piano, starting on an E flat. This is kind of like this, like James. Come on, man, where are you?
Yeah, yeah. Jump
I
in
need
with
some
those
bongos.
bongos.
Hold on, I got cheap bongos somewhere. Hold on. Oh, actually, hold on, I see them. Actually, I don't even know the bongo part. I just know that there's bongos behind it. They're kind of grooving in the background.
Yeah, I guess I don't know exactly where that happened, but except that it feels like it's another related to Pursued by Pirates.
What if I played for you the part that comes right before it? Because
Okay,
this,
try that.
because they're actually oddly connected because they narratively create a very like classic like of this style comedic beat, perhaps kind of thing. So what happens right before the hold on, I need something more. Yeah, pretend they're strings.
Okay.
Clearly, these are strings. Okay, let's see if I get this. Nope. Monophonic. There we are. Okay. Right before the other example with the bongos and the light piano, we get. Uh, and then a big.
Yeah, I know. Now I know what that is. Because while
Big
it's doing,
ra,
wait,
ra.
do that whole thing again. Because I'll play the violin part.
Oh, okay, okay. And then a
Sorry,
big.
yeah, I don't know what notes I'm playing. Yeah. Yeah, C sharp diminished, D diminished.
Yep, yep. And then it just like ra, ra, bongos. Kind of a thing. Big scene wipe. Anyone got this one?
So this is at the beginning, after they're sneaking out through the bazaar. Or at least that part was while they're sneaking out through the bazaar. And sorry, Matthew. We were giving you a shout out earlier too.
I know.
Yeah, basically saying that you were right about that Goonies track.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely sounds very Mysterious Hatchy. Yeah. So you're saying after this part? when they're sneaking out
Yeah,
through the
after the
bazaar?
big rum bum 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 bum, it just builds and builds on and it's just kind of like you seeing the whole marketplace and shipyard and port, and it's like, oh, how are they gonna sneak past everything? And then they're like in the transport, and I think Fern goes, "Well, that was easy," like kind of disappointedly, like, "Well, that was too easy," and John's like, "Well, you're welcome."
Nice.
And it's this kind of like funny light bongo music in the background while they introduce where's your ship, and it's the one that's like floating in dirt like pigsty from Peanuts.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't catch that. Like, yeah,
It comes
it
right
starts
like
immediately
immediately
after that.
right after. It's kind of just like
and
this
it's
little
very
piano
twinkly,
groove.
very in the background. Yeah. Yeah.
And for reference, this comes at the big rump bump 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 comes at 6:30 ish
Yeah.
in the episode, and then that only lasts like 20 seconds, and then like immediately at 6:50, rump, we're into this like kind of light, funny, comedic groove.
Yeah. Nice. I'm just gonna add that to my notes. Cool. I have a lot more examples,
All right.
and we will get to this, Matthew. We will certainly get to this. Kim. So much to say about Kim. Lots to say about Kim. Okay. Here's another one. Oh, okay. It's kind of an ostinato that happens a couple times. The first time we hear it, like, and then it's, sorry. I can't. Coordination. It's kind of like, I don't know, sounds polytonal or something. But then later we get that also like when they're at a different part. I won't give you the answer. Anyone recognize that?
I do. I have this as an example. So Christina, it's all you.
I feel like I'm a borderline, like.
Oh, that look, that side eye. Oh my goodness. Oh.
I am perturbed with myself because I didn't have much time this week, and so I watched all of it without so much. Yeah, I didn't get to do the
It's
paying
okay.
attention that
That's
I
okay.
normally would
That's
like.
okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. That was me last week when it was just Xanthi and I. And Xanthi's like, I got 25 examples. And I'm like, I think the show's really cool.
Great. I can make a guess if you like.
Yeah.
It was. It could have been when. It could have been when they were attempting to purchase food from the noodle place. Or no, that was in the previous.
Wrong episode.
Yeah, that was in the previous
Yeah.
episode.
No, it wasn't that.
Yep, wrong
The
episode.
second
I
time,
just
it's a little
liked
different.
that part. It's kind of scarred in my mind.
The lobster just.
Yeah.
This is when Tom Cruise pops in.
Yeah.
And
It really does sound like that, huh?
Starts dancing with the giant. I you know, it's funny. Jude Law's theme. I love it. It does involve Jude Law.
It does, yeah.
This is when he goes back to save Smee. The first time it appears, and it's this. Oh, hold on. I got turned an LFO on. Because LFOs are cool. Yeah, it's this whole. And the strings are. And it just keeps building and building and building, and
Ding, ding.
it sounds because the Mission Impossible theme is
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it really does sound like that.
right. Well, actually, you know what it actually sounds like to me, I'm gonna say it's a reference, because that's my headcanon now. This sounds like a part in Pirates of the Caribbean, the very first movie, and it's when Elizabeth Swann, Keira Knightley's character, is talking to Barbossa, and he's like, "You better start believing in ghost stories. You're in one," and the everyone turns into a skeleton or whatever, and it's like they all start doing this like choreographed circus act of a choreography, like throwing her in the air, and oh my god, everyone's a skeleton, like one of those moments, and it's this like rock and roll orchestra going bum 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 ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum bum bum ba-dum dun 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 digga digga dun digga digga dun dun digga digga dun. It's like this kind of like heavy metal orchestra kind of thing happening. It's funny, but it sounds like just like or however the Pirates one goes, and this one sounds so similar that I'm curious if it's a little call out, like a little quote, as we would say in the classical world, not a sample, a quote,
Right.
or an interpolation.
It's absolutely the Pirates of the Caribbean. Ah. Yeah, I haven't seen that recently enough for it to be a reference that's easily searchable in my mind.
Yeah, and Ender, you're definitely hearing it. Yeah, it's oh, what's it called? I'll find the track, but that's
Okay.
what that is is when Jude Law is first saving Smee. When does it come in the second time?
The second time, it's when they're trying to escape from Kim's observatory, and Jod shoots the computer and flees. Yeah.
So lame.
Sneaky Judd. Dun, dun, digga dun, dun.
Just unnecessary.
Is it Barbosa is hungry?
And then, let's see. Oh, here's an interesting one that popped up a few times. It was also on flute. So I'll get my fake flute sound.
A fake flute.
That's as good as we're going to get. I know it's bad. It's really not great. Now there's piano mixed with it. Anyway. Yeah.
Is
Anyone
this
recognize that?
for quick reference, it is the track called Swords Crossed
Okay.
on Pirates of the Caribbean by Klaus Bettold, Robin Johnny, and the Hans Zimmer crew. But this is right.
Yeah. Yeah, but you said it was called Swords Crossed. Swords Crossed.
Well, that's Pirates of the Caribbean.
The Sneaky
But
Jawed
this
one.
what right, the Sneaky Jaws. I got that at 1905 too. When KB is like, it's unlikely that you're telling the truth.
Oh.
Mm.
Yeah, I think I even
also-
did I miss it there? It's also early. It's
That's also another
earlier.
example of like, is it a bassoon or alto flute?
That's also really similar to the music from the like the Super Nintendo game, like Super Mario World, the like pre Nintendo 64 one. I feel like the dungeons when you go into like Lemony's, maybe not Lemony's Castle, but like the dungeony places, you do do do, you do do do, and then the little ghosts are going like I'm picturing ghosts crumbling and that music.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that soundtrack too.
It's a good moment. Can you
Yes.
believe I just made a video game
You're so video
musical
gamey
Good
now.
job. Look at you.
I'm learning.
There has to
Oh,
be a Zelda reference at some point. That'll be really your moment to shine.
Zelda.
It will be. It will be. A specific Breath of the Wild, since that is the only modern video game I know how to play.
And Christina plays it really in a really funny way. I have to say.
Do you not complete quests? You just exist in the game, like The Sims or something.
Actually, I do a lot of that, more than most people do. But I practice things and discover things.
Yep.
I also do a lot of cooking. Okay.
Yes, lots of cooking.
That's-
Yeah, so this I believe it first shows up at 10:43 when Pranic, another pirate, is like interrupting Jod and asking questions. I think they're still in the droid
right.
shop. Yeah, and he's like invites him to tea.
That's a good tid.
Yeah. And he's sort of like, well, let's not tell anyone about this. And Pranic's like, I disagree.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
definitely a moment where I was like, here's a British seafaring accent on a creature that
Yeah.
Spacey said probably.
It is a pirate.
Yeah. I love how everyone speaks basic. It's nice.
It
so
is.
far. So far everyone has spoken basic, I feel like. Except for the little ferryman. The little he hasn't spoken basic.
Yeah, I suppose there's a lot of basic. Yeah, I don't think Yeah, even at the beginning, I guess, with all the pirates.
Mm-hmm.
Were
And
those
then you
Bombracks
also
that we saw?
Womp Rats. Oh,
Did we
that's a
see
good question.
Bombracks?
Oh, Bombrax.
That was my first thought. Was I think they were Bombracks. Bombracks are like those small creatures that are
In Thrawn Alliances? No,
well,
that's something
actually,
else.
they're most prominently talked about in the High Republic series by the children, like the children Jedi who are dealing with.
Hmm.
Oh.
There's the one who's very techie, the techie
Yeah, are you talking about In a Test
youngling.
of Courage?
Honestly, like every single book that he's in, he's got a Bombrack going on. So there's basically a Bombrack in every High Republic book, I think, because they're always like every time you go into a shipyard, the first creature you
Yeah,
see is Bombrack,
Ram
basically.
Jamaran.
Ram Jamaram!
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
thank you. But yeah, Bombracks do speak a different language, and they are kind of like little furry things. Like people often like feed them treats and stuff, like as if they're not like they're called little rats. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
the jargon for them. It's like, oh, look at the little rat. But it's like, yes,
Oh.
They look
there they
like
are.
bats. They
They're
look like
so
bat
cute.
dogs.
Oh yeah, kind of like Bartok from
Yeah,
Anastasia.
from Anastasia.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Totally.
Our talk.
Pranic was Alfred Molina, and I'm trying to
Mm.
remember who that is. I know that he's famous. Alfred Molina. Does everyone know who Alfred Molina is?
Another name. Yeah. Yeah. He looks. Oh.
He's in
Isn't
Raiders of the
that
Lost Ark.
Isn't he Doc Ock from Spider-Man
Ah, yes, he is Doc Ock from Spider-Man.
in the live-action Spider-Man films?
Yeah.
And that's right. He was in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Huh.
He's in a
And
lot of stuff.
Frida.
Oh, Frida?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
wait.
think he played the yeah, he played Diego Rivera.
Oh, okay. We were talking about. Okay, cool. Yeah, he's good in that. For sure.
Yeah. That was a good
That's
part.
so funny. He's in
It's a funny
Raiders of the
cameo.
Lost Ark. That's right. But that's like, I was like, where? I love that film. Where is he in Raiders of the Lost Ark? And it's, do we all know this film?
Mhm.
He's in the very beginning. He's the guy that Indy is first excavating in the cave with, that gets like the very opening scene where he then gets like spiders on his back, and he gets like shot in the back with the arrows. He doesn't make it out, kind of a thing. The very, very first scene of Indiana Jones. That's him. That's wild. Oh my goodness. I had no clue.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
It's an important part of the movie.
Yeah.
You know, he had
Do you
his
think
kind of like a little mini movie just for him.
It's a classic scene. It's one of the most classic Indiana Jones scenes.
do you think this character Pranic is going to show up again?
Probably.
Throw
Either
me the
that.
item.
Nah. I mean, it's cat. Who? What's Wolfman's name?
Brutus?
Brutus. Brutus.
This is
Savage.
really Brutus.
Brutus. Savage Opress.
Oh.
Brutality. Brutal. Brutus.
Yeah.
Yes, Captain Brutus. I know. I mean, did we see? I don't know if we'll see more of him. I was gonna say, wasn't there a character who got his eyes shot out in like the very first scene of this whole series, episode 1, when all the pirates are storming the ship? Silva's still the captain. He gets these. He's. I swear, it's the same species, but he's got a
Oh.
patch over his eye. Wasn't that? That's not Pranic.
Oh dear.
I just realized, is it common for pirates to have eyes gouged out? Because so many of them have patches over eyes.
Probably with knives
So
and
is that mouse-
shrapnel.
Yeah, I'm
and-
thinking so.
So then, did that mouse species evolve to find homes in people's eye sockets? I mean, I guess it was a droid. I'm just trying to make a connection.
That's
I do
dark.
love that the mouse does consistently live there.
Yeah, me too.
even
It is
after
cute.
his being turned on again. Yeah.
It's super cute.
Okay, so that theme that I played. I mean, it feels related to. It feels related to a lot of things. There's you got an augmented second interval followed by a half step. Like a lot of things that we've played kind of have that vibe. It shows up also when, as Justin was saying, when KB is talking to Jod and being like, KB's awake and does not exactly trust Jod. We get it very extended. Then we also get it when Jod is telling the children that he's lost and alone, just like they are. Asterisk. That one is a little bit different. But then when they're on the run again, we get it again. So I think so far I'm calling it Pirate Tea. That's what I'm going to call it. But when it's Jude Law telling the kids like, "Look, I'm just like you guys. How about we make a deal?" There's like something that feels like a variation. I think it's like kind of the same thing. Like I'm willing to call it a variant rather than an entirely different thing. It could be different. The other one is. This one is more.
It's very related, at least.
Yeah, but it feels less like crunchy.
Yeah, same pitch class upon just looking at two different keys. Like, kind of the same pitch class.
Well, the first one would be a major. And the second one, if adjusted, would be.
Oh.
So not the same pitch class.
No, you're right. But
But it
it's still doing the but it's that relation.
Yeah, instead of an augmented second. It's a minor third versus a major third.
Right.
I mean, it reminds me, it's just as close as the Kylo Ren, redeemed version is to the
Oh,
original Kylo
right.
Ren.
One is a half
It's like
step,
just
one
a
is a
little bit of a difference. Yeah. So yeah,
That's
that.
funny.
And then let's see if I have another one. Do you have another one? I know the elephant in the room is the theremin.
I am out until we hit that point.
Okay.
I am out until we hit theremin.
I think that's almost all I have. There is just like one very small part, which I don't know if it's. I guess there's two more things. I don't know if this will come up again, but it was kind of a striking low brass moment. Where it was just doing like outlining a diminished triad with octaves. Yeah. And that was just when Jod finds SM33. It's like 10, 14.
Oh, yeah. Was that kind of related to the
I think so. Yeah.
From his
related.
original little
Yeah, from the last episode.
I gotta say, I'm really fascinated, going back to this kind of sneaky theme, I'm very fascinated with KB as a character. I want to know more about them as a character. I can't, are they android, part droid? Is it I don't want to say enhancement, but like an apparatus to perhaps maintain a disability of something? You know what I mean? Like I'm very curious about this character because I feel like the last time we've seen a character like that was like, what is it, Lobo? Lobo was L from
Leet. L3.
No, not Leet. I always forget this character's name. Lando's second in command.
Is that not L3?
No, the other second in command by Lando from the original trilogy on Cloud City. Not
L3 is
Leet.
Lando's equal.
Yeah. Yeah, L3 Leet is. No, I'm talking about Cloud City, Empire Strikes Back,
Lobot?
Lobot. Lobo. Lobot. It
Because it
kind of
looks like
reminds
lobotomy.
me. Yeah, lobotomy. Lobot. Yeah, she kind of reminds me of Lobot a little. And
It's a very prescient character type.
How so?
I read or watch a lot of sci-fi from a bunch of different genres, and there lately I've noticed a lot of the newer things that are coming out. There's almost always a character who has various technological upgrades. Uh,
implants or yeah.
yeah. Also I'm reading Neuromancer, the book that The Matrix is based on,
Mm.
Oh,
pretty
I didn't know that was
clearly.
based on a book.
And yeah, like the character that's Trinity slash Molly in Neuromancer has like more techno upgrades than I thought that the movie made clear she has, uh, which is interesting, but just in a way very similar to KB's upgrades, specifically about having analytical capabilities programmed into your eyes and or glasses.
Well, Justin, according to Ender, AurekFonts, her character design was based on Lobot.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Explicitly.
typing back. Yeah. Cool. I always thought that was a yeah. I'm really interested to know more about KB and like what they're able to like. Because there was that point in this episode at the very beginning where like KB has the Force and
Right.
Jod Law is like the Force flows between us all or something. You know, he gives one
Right.
of those. I love his like. I didn't technically. I said I was a Jedi, and watching the episode over a couple of times to like get the points I wanted to talk about and stuff. I was like, there's one point where he's like, "Yeah, of course, I'm a Jedi. I'll go save." But there's I love. What does he say? That's not a Jedi
It's
thing
not a
that
Jedi thing
Jedis
the Jedi
say.
say.
That Jedi say. From the beginning, it's great when she catches you. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good catch, Matthew. During the opening with the parents scene, KB's mom said she has special medical needs.
Oh, okay. That was so fast. Then I missed that
Mhm.
point. They
Yeah.
that whole scene is. I wanted more of that scene actually, with the different
Yeah, me
parents,
too.
especially because the droids, the security droids, the safety droids are fascinating.
Mhm.
They are really good at putting on a what's it that I forget the character's name, but from Avatar, if we've seen Avatar, the animated series Avatar, they
The
remind
Master
me
of
of
None.
the there is no war in Ba Sing Se kind of a character. Like everything's fine. Your kids are on a planet on a ship that we can't track because clearly it's out of the border. It's okay. It's just what the superintendent, what do they call it? Not the superior, the supervisor, right? The supervisor, superintendent, the supervisor, the CEO will see you now.
Yeah. They also mentioned that she has a life monitor, which is a callback to the Ewok TV movies.
Oh, cool.
I
There's been a
did
lot of
hear them
cool
say life
callbacks.
monitor, but I thought that was kind of like a thing that rich parents have. That's sort of more of a like a
Where are my
companion
kids?
droid type of alert thingy. That's more like
Like Lola?
yeah. Like I didn't get that it was like I didn't think it was necessarily for medical needs. But you're right. I forgot the part where they explicitly said that she had special medical needs. I thought it was just like her, like sometimes protective
Mm-hmm.
parents might want
Mhm.
something to look over their kid.
Bit like a microchip for your pet.
Yeah, yeah,
Microchips, you kid. I
yeah,
think that was a Black Mirror episode.
yeah. That scene at the beginning was like a good and short glimpse into the weird, the weirdness of Adatin. How weird they are about like leaving and
Yeah, when they're with Kim, who we'll get to in a bit, when they're like, what are the remember the kids are like, what do your parents do? Oh, they're specialists. Oh, my kid might are analysts. Like, oh well, what are they analyzing? Something to do with money.
yeah, it reminds me of Severance a little bit, where it's like they don't know what they don't really know what they're doing. What end their job serves. Okay, I have one more, and then we'll go into full Theremin Kimland.
Full theremin mode.
That's such a depressing jazz sound. Oh my god, that's just. Okay, I'll do this one. Okay.
Oh, it's just brass, right?
Yeah, low brass.
For the most
low
part?
brass, and it sounds
Oh.
and it's sounds Godzilla-ish. Very
Yes,
doom and
yes.
gloom.
I thought the same thing too. That it sounded like Godzilla. Oh shit! Excuse me. Where's the scene? They're in the cockpit, right? They're in the.
Yeah.
So vague. They're in the cockpit. Is it is it when they're trying to leave with the tether?
No, but that's a good guess.
Is it when they're trying to decide whether to leave Jude?
No, not quite. I will say it is in the back half of the episode.
It did sound very Godzilla-esque. I remember thinking that. Very vintage brass recording sounding.
Are they like going to or from the moon that Kim lives on?
Yeah, they're escaping and they're trying to jump to hyperspace. It's like kind of the focus is on KB trying to prepare for for the jump, but they're also getting shot at.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Cockpit. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like almost there.
Dun, 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 dun,
Okay, I lied. One little other one, and I don't know if this is going to be anything, but it's stuck in my head. It's twice in a row, just like that, on strings.
Are they in Kim's observatory? Just kind of like looking at the star map, or like kind of like dream. Like what comes to mind to me is like dream theme, like space is bigger than we thought theme. Like we didn't know there were that many planets.
It was around. It
Theme.
was during that conversation. Specifically, it happens while they're talking about the barrier. And so it makes me wonder if it's going to be like a barrier theme or something. Because it's I feel like it sticks out from the rest of, like it felt like it stuck out to me. It's at 2540. Yeah, she's like, what does the barrier look like, or whatever. Tell me about the barrier. And I find that whole like interrogation fascinating. So anyway,
Kim was really able to take in stride that she realizes very, very quickly that these kids have a completely different worldview than hers, or than theirs, because like when they say like we know about like Coruscant and Alderaan,
yeah, she's like,
she
y'all
was
miss
able
the
to
war?
immediately. Yeah, that's pretty
That
big
was
deal.
fascinating. when
Yeah.
she said,
Yep.
"Did you
And that's what
miss the
she said
war?"
too.
Yeah, yeah, that is what she said. When they're like, Alderaan, we know Alderaan. It's like, you haven't heard much. Like, that's a really fascinating premise,
Yeah.
story wise. I gotta say that they don't have any clue about anything that's happened that we all know. You know what I mean? Like as the audience, kind of a thing. Even it's like
Yeah.
they have no clue. That's really interesting, and I'm curious from how far back, because it's Old Republic, right?
This
But
takes
not
place
High Republic. No, right, but from like where they in their mind where they think they are,
in
in a
time.
way,
Yeah. Okay.
in time. It's not High Republic.
Right.
Yeah, they probably missed the entire separatist
Well, yeah. But the thing is,
Yeah,
it's hard to know
separation.
whether like their parents did too, because also they're young. So like this is 9 ABY. So even the war would have been probably when they were, maybe too young to remember. So I wasn't totally sure of the significance of that, except I guess maybe one can assume that most kids their age in other parts of the galaxy learn about the war because you know, they were kids
maybe.
during it. But was it like fascinating in a like, oh, fascinating, you're so young way, or was it fascinating in like a more profound way? I think they're trying to say the latter, but it was a little confusing.
I feel like it's
Me
the
too.
more profound way because they're mentioning. They keep saying that Aden is a myth, a legend. You know what I mean? So how far back does something have to be forgotten to be a myth or a legend? Because if it was just like, let's, for example, 20 years ago, there's someone somewhere is going to remember this place that what might have gotten on to the planet, right? So
Yeah.
how far back does that separation of like, no, this planet was destroyed like the rest, because they mentioned a couple other planets that they're like, these were the hidden planets that were all destroyed except for yours. So at what point were those planets destroyed, and that at Aden was also perhaps destroyed? That's interesting. That's really fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. What do people in the chat think? Like, I don't know. Does it seem normal? Like, could a 9-year-old? I don't. How old do you think these kids are? I'm really bad at kids' ages in the
They're like
show.
they're like what, middle school? So 10, 12.
They're like, 10 to 12.
Yeah.
Okay. So if the Battle of Yavin took place when they were 1 or 2, would their parents have told them about it by now?
Probably.
Yeah, they probably would have told them about like life under the Empire, but I guess maybe their parents didn't.
Maybe their parents don't know.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what
what
I
I'm
mean?
wondering.
Maybe it's the point where it's like
I don't.
this place is so hidden that like they're not even supposed to know what's going on.
So that begs the question. So
Yeah.
Palpatine didn't even know?
Or you thought it was
Yeah, I was gonna
destroyed.
say that, like, for you to hide yourself from Palpatine is a pretty big deal because he, it seems to me, would be able to find almost anything, I
Yeah.
guess. Uh, but
But if there was no
He can't
wayfinder
find Thrawn's
to
homeland, though.
at Aden, then you know.
I feel like they could have seen the writing on the wall, like when the Republic was forming, and could have been like, we're gonna just completely take ourselves out of this, and we're not only gonna take ourselves out, but and yet, like seeing how badly things were going at the end of the High Republic era, which is not that far before the
The prequel
Separatist
era. Yeah.
era
That's
and then
true.
the prequel era. Um,
24
yeah, I
years is a
feel like
long
they could have
time.
just, yeah, and I feel like they wouldn't, and they in fact would definitely not teach about the Empire because then you get kids who want to leave, who think it's even possible to leave.
Hmm.
It seems like they've kind of indoctrinated the kids to think that there literally is no existence outside of At-Aten.
Yeah, and it may
Kind
have
of like how
started.
yeah, like there's also like no career other than an analyst. Like it seems kind of
Yeah.
like like there's no such thing as just like being a person who saves people because we have security droids for that. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think I see kind of a
Yeah, they're kind of
isolationist
Mm.
sequestered.
country. Yeah.
Sequestered in this And maybe it started out like as a way to protect everyone. And so in that regard, probably worked. But
Yeah.
she said like she was insinuated that it might be nebula gases that are responsible for the barrier or something. So I'm wondering if that could have been, if that was maybe like a natural occurrence or if that's something they could have made. Because maybe it's like an accident or something. Or maybe Palpatine
Could they have?
did hide the planet on purpose. I don't know.
It's his clones.
Right? This is Palpatine wanted it on. Yeah, maybe Palpatine wanted it hidden. He's like, yeah, you can stay, in case we have to start over.
Their parents wouldn't
Yeah, I'm
tell
interested
them
to learn
about
more
the
about the star
existence.
system.
Their parents wouldn't tell them about the existence of Alderaan and not tell them about its destruction if they knew about it. But they know other planets. They know of starships. They just never leave. Right. I think the parents are in the dark. However, I wonder what happened to Wim's mom. I wonder if she left the planet and if during the kids' travels they will run into her somehow. Ah,
Ooh, that'd be nice.
that's a cool idea.
Yeah, Wim's dad is very thoughtful and was the only parent to recognize the significance of a situation. The other parents were still freaking out about how the supervisor needed to be contacted, and Wim's dad was very much like, no, I knew this was going to happen. I knew no one would believe me, and I knew
Oh.
that, like maybe his position in the government is high level enough to where he knows. It seems I get the feeling there's just a few at the top that know the context and
Right.
maybe know they at least know the history, but I don't know if I would suppose they wouldn't have access to communication outside of the planetary barrier because if you're
Maybe it would
able to
compromise the security.
retrieve information, then someone could I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I'm pretty fascinated by this. And then
Yeah.
Kim is very fascinated by this.
But
I'm
everything.
not sure what Kim's motives are because she seems just as as interested, if not more, in At-Aten than Jod is. She also has like a librarian vibe to her, like just information seeking. But then she also wants to protect the children from Jod. Kind of
Yeah, they have
lot
a
of
history
levels.
of. Yeah.
I think Kim is probably evil.
Ooh,
I think Kim's going to be a bad guy.
Ooh. You can tell by
Do you
how they
remember the
spell.
owl? Do you remember the owl in Avatar: The Last Airbender? In the
The
library, the librarian
librarian,
owl
yeah.
Yes.
in the Sandland.
You could tell she's evil because of how they spell
Because
KHYMM. That's like one of those like
Kim does not need to spell.
Kim. Yeah. She reminds me of if anyone's the owl. I didn't even think about the owl in the literal library in the middle of the desert from Avatar. Oddly like this one. But anyone seen Titan AE? Don Bluth film, one of his last films, Titan AE. There's a character that's like a pilot map person that's very similar to this character. Not an owl, but has the same kind of big eyes, beak of a mouth, interested in everything kind of a thing. Titan AE, that's a good one.
She was played by Alia Shawkat, who played Maybe in Arrested Development. For those familiar.
Nice.
I liked her so much, and I think my favorite part of the entire episode, and I've been repeating this in my head for the last 24 hours, it's kind of like an intrusive loop, is when she goes, "We'll pick your brains clean." Like when she makes that funny sound. Oh my God, it's so funny. It delighted me watching it. It delighted me.
It is
I like
delightful.
I like how she has both like arms and wings. You know, it's funny. It's funny. I'm looking at Kim's Wikipedia, StarWarsFandom.com thing like that. And these new characters, it's species alien is what it says currently. It's just species alien, and I'm like, oh, what is this cool species kind of a thing that we have maybe have seen or not seen before, and it's just alien. So I'm surprised they don't like have like an entire history backstory ready to go when they introduce a new
Yeah, I mean, I guess
something new alien.
Yeah.
Like what is an alien in Star Wars? That's
I mean, I
a
do
funny
notice.
Yeah.
I think
way
I do
to
notice
say
that
species.
trend. I think I do
That
notice
lets you
that
Well,
know
I
how
mean,
in Star Wars,
isolationist their planet is.
where they'll
Yeah.
say like alien, and then when other media does another one of that, they'll kind of leave it enough open that other media later can fill it in. Like, you know how Yoda's
Right.
species, I think, just says like it's just called Yoda species, I think, or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But now that I'm looking on Wikipedia, in the descriptive information, it says that she also has one of those cybernetic
Enhancement
devices,
things.
like the Lobot one. Do you remember? On the back of her, I guess. Usually there either is a name behind the scenes, and when there's not, it'll come up in a visual dictionary or whatever. Yeah, fair enough. Because I mean, yeah, on Wikipedia, unless the visual dictionary has come out or something,
Yeah.
or it's been mentioned, people won't know yet. So before you know, just call it an alien, I guess.
Oh yeah, when it mentions cybernetics, it says she's the AJ6 cyborg construct.
Yeah, so that is the Lobot thing. Yeah.
That's the
Interesting
robot thing.
that there's two of them. They're a dyad.
Oh, good point, Matthew. Dark crystal. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because I see in the thumbnail. Oh, check the thumbnail again. Right. Yeah, the thumbnail that Ender made. Yeah, I mean, you see it. Yeah. Okay, so she has some cool music.
She's got cool music that's featured on a cool instrument. As I just rack this up real quick. I gotta get it into frame. Horrific
For
frame
those
here.
watching this, how familiar are you with theremins? Like, familiar enough to recognize it, I'm sure.
Sure, all the
Can you
musicians.
tell us how it works?
Yeah. So, quick history lesson because I'm a nerd and I used to teach this.
You used to teach theremin?
No, I used to teach electronic music history, or include it quite heavily into electronic music classes I've taught. A theremin is probably one of, not the first, but one of the first most prominent electronic instruments to ever exist. It is an invention. It came out in 1928, I believe, before the 1930s, by a gentleman by the name of Leon Theremin. Of course, that's what you do. You name it after yourself, always. So it was originally supposed to be a proximity detector for the Russian military. That was the project. It was supposed to give a beep or give a sound or give a signal when something or someone was close enough to the object itself. And I don't know the rest of the exact story details, but basically somehow they hooked it up to a speaker and they're like, hey, this is cool, and turned it into a musical instrument. So it's super simple. And it's so simple that it's the hardest instrument in the world to play. It's got two antennae. There's this one right here that is vertical, and there's this one back here that is horizontal. One controls the pitch, and the other controls the volume. And you have to play both at the same time. Hold on, okay. It's a very cheap theremin. Can you all hear that? I'm sure. Okay, I put reverb on
That's
it, so
awesome.
it's not completely unbearable. But this is volume. And then this is pitch. So you probably know the sound from like old horror movies, ghost sound effects, old sci-fi films. It's very easy to be like, kind of a thing. So what's so hard about this is that this is how you get different notes, rhythms.
So that's okay.
So that's just volume.
Yeah, okay.
I'm putting my head closer to the antenna because we're grounding a whole radio frequency capacitance thing. I can't explain it, but it's basically to do with really powerful capacitors and your proximity and grounding them in different ways, I want to say. So if I touch it, kind of a thing. You'll also know this
so
from...
can you explain the grounding thing?
No, I'm not that I don't know as well, kind of a thing. No, I cannot actually. Basically, I mean, in the same sense, in that sense, grounding is like all electricity has to basically flow back. It has to start somewhere and has to end somewhere, and usually that means it has to end back up in the ground. Earth itself, kind of a thing. It needs to complete its full loop, or you get shocked, essentially.
And this is related when like some electronics are like, make sure you plug this in a grounded outlet.
All these things like that. So basically my proximity, and please somebody, I'm sure someone has a much better explanation. I'm sure Wikipedia does in itself, but basically the closer I get to it, it's changing an internal radio frequency at a frequency on the inside of it. That's causing it to look at a reference pitch. It's causing it to look towards a modulator, blah, 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 all these fun things like that. And what's so freaking hard about it is that you have to tune it based on your distance. And then depending on how you tune it, it's like the same distance isn't always an octave. It's at least this one, it's like it's exponential. So it's like you get to the point where like when you're this close, that's an octave. Kind of a thing. So really it's like
So how does it know to... Okay, so your hand is serving as... What would be the name for it?
which hand? This hand?
Yes.
My right hand is the pitch.
Okay. Is it an oscillator? No.
Yeah, it's an oscillator. It's basically
okay.
it's an oscillator. It's controlling an oscillator. It's controlling the pitch, the frequency of an oscillator.
Okay. And how does it know to... If someone else's hand... Does it matter
It's
that
whatever's
you're
closest.
one body? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's whoever's closest.
Okay.
Whatever's
So-
closest. So that's why you got to like tune it with your distance because
So what if your body were on the other side of the antenna and your hand was just reaching around? Would it still work? Or would you need your body there behind it?
360.
Okay.
Like if I have my hand here,
And there's only one oscillator on it, right? So someone can't also... Okay. So you can't duo.
we can't get another pitch at it. No. It's all one thing, kind of a thing. Yeah, and if you look up performers of the theremin, ones that come to mind, not Norman Rockwell, Carolina Rockwell, was a really, really, really famous theremin player from back in the day. Probably one of the most famous original theremin players, Clara Rockmore, and then Carolina Eck, who is the current queen of the theremin. Pamela Kirsten, all sorts of people, and it's so freaking hard to play because if you watch Carolina, and some of her lessons that she'll do, or like her demonstrations, it's all like these really specific hand movements, and like to get the exact half pitch, whole tone, octave scale kind of a thing. So I think you're trying to get an entire, you got to tune it so that in one octave is like the difference between this and this.
Huh. Okay.
Right.
So interesting. So suffice it to say that you, and if anyone has questions about theremin, please drop them in the chat.
Yeah,
Even if it's like treading back to the basics or something, because I think, I don't know, there might
hand
be
is
some...
causing radio. Yeah, radio and Endra's got it. It's radio frequencies basically is what the hand is. So without getting into explaining radio frequencies, my distance to it is changing the radioactive frequencies in the air, in a sense, and grounding it more. It's like if anybody still listens to a radio with an antenna kind of a thing, sometimes you get channels that suck, but when you get close to the radio itself, all of a sudden the channels like comes in. You're like, oh, this is great, and then you move like 2 feet away, and it's like static again. A little bit like that, same idea. Or when you touch the antenna, you're like all of a sudden grounding everything, and then it's like, hey, everything's bright and clear, wonderful. And the moment you let go, it's like again. Essentially the same idea.
So in order to play theremin and try to hit specific pitches, like you couldn't just, with the piano, you could have your hands over your, you don't have to hear anything to just be able to plonk a
Yeah,
G,
no, this
and it'll
is
be
like
dependable. You need
if
your
I was
ears.
like really good at this and I was at the exact distance to my tuning, I'd be like, yeah, clearly that is exactly a C. No. A flat, clearly. That was an A flat.
Now, does the room you're in also matter? And
Yeah,
how many
and
other
things
people are
around.
in the room?
And again, this is a very, I don't want to say cheap theremin, but it's not a very expensive, like, well, high quality made. Let's just say high quality made theremin. It's an affordable theremin. So like, I'll pick up depending on where I am with it or what other things I'm connected to. I'll actually pick up the radio on it sometimes, which is hilarious. Other electronics will sometimes bleed into it, which is interesting. Right now it's pretty, you got a little buzz or bubble in the sound right now, and I'm not
Can
entirely
Cat
sure
control
what that's from.
theremin?
Actually,
Oh, yes. We need it.
Yes.
Ah.
This is me. This is ah.
yes, absolutely, Cat can control theremin.
Good job, Kitty.
my ultimate
Beautiful.
dream is to put like 16 of these in a room and have dancers run around with them. And just
sounds cool.
listen to the absolute
cats.
alias and chaos that'll be, or cats. There's a that would actually be pretty fun. Just cats just in there.
Yeah.
It's like the aviary where they put electric guitars on stands and they just let birds fly and like pluck the strings. It was cool. Yeah, the theremins and cats. I'm sure that will just drive them absolutely bonkers. Cat theremin. It's Catheremin. So anyway, so the theme, the musical moment, and that's a good question. First theremin in Star Wars. Really wonder why it was chosen in this very 80s series. Can you imagine if John Williams in the 70s was like, theremin, George Lucas, buddy, theremin. It's like the sound of space, and we got that would have been a travesty, but at the same time, excellent. So hold on, let's see here. So I'm going to real quickly, just to show you how difficult this is. Here is my fake theremin on my keyboard here, and the theme goes that I'm going to try and replicate here. So this theme appears 1954 in the episode, right as they are like reaching the moon planet, the that gorgeous backdrop of a moon or a planet or whatever they're on, by the observatory. So okay, Kitty, this is hard enough as it is.
It's pretty fast.
Okay, hold on. Kitty. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Oscar, Oscar. Okay.
Ah!
No, Kitty, you're messing me up. You're changing my fundamental.
They know.
Sorry, Fritz. Okay. Yeah, okay, I was almost
That's
there.
awesome.
So that's hard. That took a while to figure out. So getting somebody, unless they like pitch corrected it or used a fake theremin or got someone who knows theremin, like I feel like this show is pretty live music. I'm sure there's
Yeah,
some
so do you think
synths and
they
some
used a real theremin
samples.
player?
It's so good though. So it makes me
Yeah, so it's
wonder.
like
But also,
way
like, if
too
you're gonna be a theremin player, you're gonna be really good at it. So, you know what I mean? I can't imagine it was Mick in a room going like, "I'm gonna add theremin," and then just like,
Yeah, like,
"Yeah, I'll post this later," kind of a thing. It
And
would
he
have
probably
been
has like
either.
a theremin playing friend and was like, I
You know what I
who
mean?
to call in
He either
for this.
found someone who knows what they're doing, or he did what I did over here for fun.
Yeah.
And just got a synth to do it. It's really easy. You do a triangle wave and glide and mono and a little vibrato. It's super easy to replicate.
Does your theremin have an onboard speaker?
No.
Okay.
So you have to plug it in. Thank you, Matthew. You have to plug it in, and like the volume is the on and off switch itself.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So you can kind of hear that little click.
Yeah. The theme that you were just playing was actually the mysterious hatch from the first 2 episodes.
Oh.
Yeah, which we do hear on theremin, which kind of led me to think we do get also like a theme that I think is more for Kim, but because we also hear theremin playing other things, it makes me think that like the use of theremin itself is almost its own thematic building block, where maybe you don't need to hear, because Kim's was like, yeah. It just had this, it kind of sounds similar, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of goes between a minor, 2 minor chords. But yeah, so in my notes I have theremin as its own almost theme, because I feel like if we hear something else on theremin, it probably also symbolizes whatever's going on with Kim, or Kim's observatory, or maybe the Atten mystery. Yeah, but we got so much theremin, and only starting at that point of the episode.
Yeah. Only starting at that point. Right after, is that what you were just playing this?
Yep.
That first appears right when she's talking to the X-Wings, before we even see her.
Yep.
Or meet her, which is interesting. I thought, upon watching the episode again, I was kind of like, I kind of wish they would have like saved the fact that she was like double crossing them from the beginning, kind of a thing, because they just kind of like immediately are like, oh, she's gonna sell them out like immediately. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just being nitpicky, but Yes.
Yeah. So something interesting about her theme, it's basically the same thing that I have up here, different keys, is just the chords that it goes between. So like D minor and B flat minor. They're like not super related. Moreover, it's the same chord progression in the Imperial March, in the Death Star, in Kylo Ren Hesitant.
Mm.
Mm.
Which is in Frank Lehman's catalog, he has like different chord progressions and the associations with them. And this one is associated with villainy among other things, but not just villainy. So like, that's not necessarily why I think she's going to be evil or whatever, but it's also associated with the alien, and any of those could certainly fit. But I'll show you the page from his catalog. Just because it's interesting to hear. There are so many chord progressions in Star Wars that are familiar, and that are used for a ton of different things. Where you can evoke the sound of the Imperial March or something, just not by using the Imperial March, but like using something else.
Yeah.
So here it is. The examples are, villainy, tragedy, the dark side, the alien. So Imperial March, Death Star, Jabba, Duel of the Fates, Waterworld, Kylo Ren's B theme, Ewoks. That's one. Krennic, Han's searching theme, Anthem of Evil. Yeah. So that's interesting.
I feel like I heard a lot of that chord progression throughout the episodes.
Me too.
So. I also wanted to point out something about the theremin. One of the just kind of a report about what it's been like. I've worked with a theremin player about like 3 or 4 times. Like I've written pieces for theremin or for like theremin as a part of a larger ensemble, and I've worked with the same person each time. And in order so they tune their instrument just as you described, Justin. But he also is my connection decent?
Yeah.
Okay, good. It looks weird for me, so as long as it's good for you, that's fine.
It's
Great, that's fine. It is, right? Okay.
I think it's fine.
So
yeah. No, you're good. You're good.
yeah, the theremin player that I worked with, he always brought a complete setup in terms of he would actually build a box around himself of the same dimensions at every performance so that his body was also sort of tuned to the space. That way he controls everything that's around him, and it was always like a specifically like 4 or 5 foot square. And it seemed like a lot of it was just built from the tech he was using for the performance, but some of it I get the feeling was unnecessary, but it was like a part of the setup so that he always could make the same movements and be pretty accurate with pitch and choices. So yeah.
That's wild.
Cool.
That's really cool.
That's really cool. Yeah. And that makes sense. You'd want to control your environment as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I can't it's funny to think like they're as acoustic instrument players, we know how much like the weather or the temperature in a room can like make or break an evening, a performance, a practice session, anything like that. I can't imagine like showing up with all this equipment, like a good setup to do the same thing every time, and like the electrical current in the room is wrong, That's wild.
Yeah.
And I've experienced that on like a tech level, but not as a performer. on a tech level, I've been like, oh shit, the power in this room is like weird and is causing things to happen. But like as a performer, that's like, I always think of bagpipes. I love bagpipes, but like a bad day playing outside on bagpipes, you could be the best player in the world and it does not matter.
Are they really susceptible to the weather?
Really, it's a reed instrument, and it's a set. It's a couple reeds actually. It's a number of reeds. So yeah, they can.
Isn't
It could
isn't the weather in places that bagpipes come from like pretty
pretty bad.
moist and
Yeah. So
volatile?
it's just you think they'd be built to withstand the weather, but nope. See, well, maybe then it can't be a good day. Like, it can't be a beautiful, bright, sunny day, or the bagpipe will sound awful. It needs to be, like, overcast, slightly misty.
I love
Perfect
that
weather
idea.
for bagpiping.
I really like bagpipe too. Okay, we have a few comments. With the first 2 episodes taking a huge influence from the Goonies soundtrack, I was wondering which 80s movie soundtrack used the theremin, or if this wasn't pulling anything beyond it sounding cool. Well, Ender told me that on the StarWars.com like trivia about Skeleton Crew, they mention that, where is it? I pulled it up on Spotify. That a probable inspiration for this was, what's it called? I keep forgetting the name of it. The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Yep, that's a classic theremin example for movie scores and film scores in general. Like a big, it's always like you talk about theremin and movie scores. It's like it's always, yeah, The Day the Earth Stood Still. Very classic example. Doctor Who theme as well. The Doctor Who theme is a very famous example of the theremin.
Yeah, so The Day the Earth Stood Still is a 1951 film. It is sci-fi and composed by Bernard Herrmann, who also did Psycho, lots of Hitchcock, and many iconic scores. There are 2 theremins in it, 2 Hammond organs. Yeah, this sounds cool. 20th Century Fox later reused the Bernard Herrmann title theme in the original pilot episode of Irwin Allen's 1965 TV series Lost in Space. The music was also used in Allen's Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea TV series in various episodes. Danny Elfman noted The Day the Earth Stood Still's score inspired his interest in film composing and made him a fan of Herrmann. So this looks like a good one to know.
Yeah, Lost in Space. That's true. That's true.
Could be a good movie watch.
That's true. Let's see if it's available to watch.
The original Day the Earth Stood Still. You can find that on YouTube, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then also the characters walking on the moon in silhouette with that gas giant behind them looked absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
That was a totally ET shot. And I'm here for it.
I liked Ender's thumbnail.
Oh yeah, that's the secret thumbnail that we'll use for a future
thumbnail
or something. Yeah, Ender made a thumbnail option for today's episode, and maybe I'll just show it.
It's adorable. I love it.
Photoshopped instruments into everyone's hand, and the Jod is a drum major at the beginning. Ender had to draw in
Neil on the sousaphone. I love it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Fern would be a trumpet player.
Okay, why do you think so? Because Ender was also asking me what instrument do you think all of them play, and I was like, Fern is violin. If we were doing.
Nah, I would say KB. I would say KB is violin because of its just technical challenge, and it's very, you know what I mean. It's just, it feels like KB would be more of a let me show up a technical. Where I want to say Fern is more like brash, like trumpet. I'm gonna be loud in your face. You know what I mean. Like she would be the lead in a ska punk band kind of a thing.
See, I think Fern would play violin because violin is the leader of the
I
orchestra.
feel like it's
and so often.
true,
And
true,
KB
but
would play synthesizer.
I could see KB on the synthesizer as well. I could see Neil on the synthesizer. I don't know. I feel like Fern is would view the violin in the stereotypical delicate sense and be like, no, I need something that I can beat up and like not worry about breaking because I tossed it in the corner.
Oh God.
I feel like
So
that's
she's
Fern's
playing
thing.
percussion.
Where like KB would have the more respect, but I could see the synthesizer definitely due to the
techiness.
and maybe
I think the assignment was actually out of the instruments that we all play. Like if Christina is voice and then I'm violin and you're like synth or flute, depending on which fits a character better.
I was a
and then
drum
James is
major.
percussion.
I was drum major for 2 years. Thank you very much.
Wait, what did you say, Christina?
I feel like melodica could be part of it.
Yeah.
Is a good.
It's the other greatest instrument in the world. Theremin and melodica.
Melodica's pretty cool. Except spit gets like all stuck in the. Anyway.
Yeah, but
Theremin is clearly the coolest instrument ever.
Spitless. It's spitless. It's touchless.
I want a
It's
theremin.
marvelous.
I do want a theremin one day. And then
The Barrowman's coming out.
The Barrowman?
Behringer's coming out with a theremin.
Really?
Yes,
Yeah.
theremin.
Behringer theremin will be. I'm sure it'll be really affordable.
I can't tell if that's. If you actually, I can't tell if that's sarcastic.
Oh well, I mean, if you want it, that's a different podcast of going down the Behringer discussion. But I'm in support and also not at the same time. It's fun. Anyways, Behringer, buy one.
I interpret it as both sarcasm and honesty mixed together.
Yeah. There's it's
because
like
it just is literally true.
Okay, I just had to look it up. I just had to know. A $99 analog theremin clone in the works. So it's like a replica of the Moog, but it's cheap. So
that's what they're known for.
Yeah.
That's kind of their thing.
Because it's kind of a knockoff.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just been their thing. Is like we are going to clearly take other people's things and reverse engineer them and then sell them for cheaper. So it's like, hey, I got a theremin for $100. That's pretty rad, and it gives people the opportunity that can't afford a $10,000 theremin. And then at the same time, you could like change the color and make it like not the exact same product as they have done many, many, many times over. But I own 2 Behringer synthesizers that I love very dearly, and I would totally get a couple of their synthesizer clones.
Got it. Yep. Mixed feelings.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe the theremin as a voice is associated with the place, like the choir for Cloud City and Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, maybe. It's still it's hard to say whether it's like for Kim or for the observatory. Either way, I want to go back there.
Right.
YouTube
Or for
search
cyborgs.
I'm so glad, Chuck. I'm really glad to know this.
Oh.
YouTube search for cat theremin yields results. Good.
That was a highlight of all the
that was
Star
a
Wars
highlight.
Music Minute moments that we
Yeah.
had.
Yeah.
Oscar, you did a good job.
Good job, Oscar. Everyone like this video to give Oscar a pet. It doesn't.
Here.
James is so much better at that. Oscar.
There he is. He's still
There
here.
he is.
That's Oscar.
He's ready to do it again.
Theremin Kitty.
Wow, Oscar is so
Theremin
chill,
Kitty.
so not like that.
Oscar is unreasonably chill. You'll meet him.
Wild, yeah.
He's unreasonably chill.
Great thumbnail. And if you think trumpets are brash, then you haven't met enough trombones. Do you play trombone?
Yeah, well. my best friend plays trombone. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Nice. Well, do we have anything else that we want to chat about this episode? Anyone else have any questions or concerns, predictions about the music?
I want to know. So I guess for me, it's just Jod is like, I'm technically not a Jedi, so I'm very curious to know I mean, I liked when they were like, "How do you make things float in space?" You know, and they're like,
Just like lots of
clearly
reasons.
all these different ways, string,
Yeah.
kind of a thing. So I am very curious to know what Jod's thing is, and I'm curious also where they're going to go next because they don't have complete coordinates.
I also think the things that they cite, there's a million ways to make it look like something is floating. Name one: repulsor lift, tractor beam, magnets, mirrors, string. I feel like some of those should make an appearance in the rest of the season. Like I feel like that should come up again. Like they should
That'd
use
be
one of
nice.
those for something.
I feel like I need to do some pirate research via watching pirate movies and things like that to sort of brush up on. That would be an interesting kind of winter project.
That's not a bad idea. Other than Pirates of the Caribbean, and then I think also like back to the 80s research like Goonies would be a
Cutthroat,
good watch. I've never seen Goonies,
yeah,
so and I tried to look
Hook,
up oh go ahead.
Cutthroat Island.
Cutthroat
I
Island.
was, yeah, I was gonna say Hook is a good pirate
Hook.
one. Cutthroat, that's like very much in this like Spielberg-y 80s Goonies ET style. And what's the other big pirate? The Cutthroat Island was a very famously disastrous pirate production
Oh.
that kind of killed. I feel like it kind of killed the pirate genre until Pirates of the Caribbean came out. It
Whoa, that's a
was like
tall
it's like very
tragedy.
like the production of it is like notoriously disastrous. It's got a good soundtrack though.
The soundtrack is by John Debney.
Hmm.
Quite a poster.
Yeah, it's. I think it was like the Pirates of the Caribbean before Pirates of the Caribbean, and then didn't work out.
1995. I've never even heard of it. Cutthroat Island.
Yes,
Gina
great
Davis.
score, disastrous production. It's a fun one to read up on.
Trumpet, cornet, flugel player myself, but usually hang out with the trombones. I see. Says something about you. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Do we have any other thoughts? Are we hoping it gets more piratey, more spacey? All of them.
More
I'm just
spacey,
hoping
of
for more
course.
Kim. I'm hoping for more
More
Kim
star.
and more Ad-Adden.
Yeah, more stars, more wars, more.
I want some At-Adden lore. I want
Yeah,
Me too.
history, lore, that sort of thing.
And those continue to be my favorite parts of the show, like this, so the slower moments when we're learning new things rather than the escape.
yeah. The
and learn
action
things.
is.
I think the
fun.
action is
Yeah,
necessary, and I think the music in it is rather good. But yeah, it's just I'm really enjoying the show.
me too.
Good job. Nick.
I'm. What I want to know. Here's my out of pocket prediction that because we don't have James, we're gonna see a lot more of the dad, and the dad is gonna try and get off planet. And we're gonna have
He knows about it.
maybe an episode, half of an episode that's kind of dedicated to him trying to also figure out what the outside world is like.
Who?
I want
The dad,
The
Vern's
dad.
mom to go too.
like he's gonna get off the planet somehow. He's gonna take matters into his own hands, get off the planet to go look for the kids, and he's gonna have to like navigate a very different world that he doesn't also perhaps also doesn't know about.
Yeah. I agree, Christina. I also would like Fern's mom to be involved.
Hmm.
Also, do we think there's going to be a love story there?
No, no.
That
Yeah,
could
no.
be a bit much, but maybe
Two
it'll be
emotionally
nice.
distant parents finding love together. So they can both tell their kids, I have work to do. We have work to do.
Yeah. You're top of the glass again. Yeah. I don't know. I think it'd be I would like to see some of the parent arc, I suppose.
I love the
Anyway.
idea of the kids being off in space, having no clue what's going on, and then the parents being off in space, having equally no clue what's going on.
Yeah.
Um, Because I feel like that's how it would be.
Yeah. Oh, Fern's patch. That was another thing. I find that interesting. I don't think we got a full story about Fern's patch. Though we do have, I don't know if Ender is still in the chat. AurekFonts, if you're still in the chat, do you know anything about Fern's patch? When Kim's like, what is that? Right? She's like,
Yeah,
what?
she was very, very, got very excited there.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't look it up or anything. If anyone else in the chat knows, she's like, oh, it's just for being top of the class or whatever. It's on her rucksack. Head of the class, that's what it's called. Kim remarks that she has never seen Palmarish numerals used in Proto-Republic artifacts. Yeah, I don't know what
Proto-Republic artifacts.
Yeah.
So would that be
numerals.
between the High Republic and the Republic?
That's true. Oh, maybe. That's true. Ender did predict that they were numerals, and they were. I'm trying to find a picture of it. I did not get a screenshot. Oh, okay. Here I got one. I just remember it looks like a lyre. Or
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
It could also be a picture of how the barrier works around At-Aden.
You mean the circular
It is
part
the
around
key.
it?
They gotta put it in the thing and then turn it clockwise to.
Nice.
Oh wait, what's this other thing I'm seeing? Okay, I also see.
Sorry.
This looks like. So it must have shown up somewhere else. I don't know what this is a screenshot from.
Oh.
It's a little reminiscent
isn't
of
no,
Philip
isn't that
Pullman's-
doesn't she the mom gives
the mom, that's
her mom gives her the thing.
Oh, it looks like this because someone took a photo from their TV or computer.
Yeah,
right,
mom
and it's
gives
the
her
mom's
the thing.
smile
I'm like, is
because
this
the
from a
mom
video
is
game?
so excited about it, and the
Yes.
daughter is like, "Please, mom, don't bring that back. I never wanted it in the first place. I have no goals similar to yours."
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Oh.
It reminds me a little of Philip Pullman's alethiometer.
What's that?
That's from the Philip Pullman's
Oh,
universe,
yeah.
which is known as a variety of things. His Dark Materials, also known as the Golden Compass.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see the numerals
Also
now.
known as like
Under yeah.
a sort of sci-fi fantasy satire on Milton's Paradise Lost. But yeah, it's very alethiometer-ish.
So is the so one is the 12 o'clock position.
Yeah.
And 5
1,
is
2,
where
3,
this like
4,
star
5,
is.
6, 7, 8.
Starburst.
Yeah, I see it.
And
I
the
see it.
center being 9, you mean that really
Yeah.
big one? That kind of looks
Maybe
like
the
an angular omega, capital omega. Why wouldn't
how
for
many
being top of the
worlds? 9 planets. I was about to say 9 planets known as the jewels of the old republic.
Ah.
Mystery
Yep.
Incorporated. Unite. Let's do it.
Yep. That makes a lot of sense.
So they're the 9th planet,
it's-
perhaps.
Oh, maybe.
Get it, Ender. Love it.
And maybe it has to do with some kind of hyperspace route situation from planets like 4 and 6.
That would
or
make
something
sense,
like that.
given that it was like part of the crawl at the beginning. Yeah, 9 is the omega-looking one. Yeah, yeah. The crawl of episode 1 mentioned hyperspace routes still being an issue.
They're
Yeah.
always an issue.
They are always an issue.
Oh no, my mouse died. I can't see anybody.
Oh,
Oh,
tragic.
well, I think that's about all we have for today.
That's
Very
all
much.
I have.
Looking forward to
Not
next
hard to
week.
say.
Hopefully, Justin can see our faces before we
Oh
say
no.
goodbye.
Hold on.
Just
Oh, poor Justin.
Have you seen Mary Martin's Peter Pan? It's like a musical that was televised in several, like 5 decades or so ago.
I'm thinking
60s,
no.
maybe? 70s? Yeah, there's like a part where Tinkerbell is dying and they turn to the audience and they're like, clap your hands and say, I do believe in fairies. I do believe in fairies. And yeah, I just feel I should be doing that for Justin right now, for his tech to start working.
Yeah,
Because we
that
can't
could
just ditch
work.
him. We're talking about you, Justin. Are you back?
Nope.
Are you back? No?
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Christina, are you going to watch Skeleton Crew
Oh my goodness, that was chaos.
when
Sorry,
it comes?
everybody.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, we were just getting ready to say goodbye, but didn't want to ditch you while you
Well, my
couldn't
mouse
see or
died,
hear
and then at the same time that I accidentally opened up another window, so I couldn't hear you. And then I hit another button, then I couldn't hear or see you. And I was just like, oh my goodness.
Nice.
Everything is destroyed.
Yeah.
Okay, well, goodbye.
Nice.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Well, people, if you want to hear Justin and Christina on other episodes on Star Wars Music Minute, Christina's episode is currently out, in which we talk about the Rise of Skywalker, some fun stuff. It's a fun episode where we analyze
No.
Palpatine's vocal delivery through the lens of operatic speak singing, and
Ooh.
yeah. And then on Monday, in 2 days, Justin and James's episode comes out. And that one will be all about car bass audio, blowing out your speakers, and other fun
Another
fun topics.
farty noises.
Making risers.
Yep.
Yeah. So 2 very fun back-to-back episodes. So
Oh
keep an eye out.
dear.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll talk to you all next week.
Talk
And
to y'all soon.
yeah. All right. Bye, chat.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, chat. Oh, wait. Hold
Bye,
on.
Oscar.
Wait.
What?
We gotta. There's music, right?
Oh, yeah, we have-
play music.